Alright guys, welcome back. We're doing more work on the S13 project. This is something that's going to be super cool because I've always painted my own cars at the shop, and we got a different idea. I've been talking to my buddy Hank. He was actually going to do a mural at our shop on the outside wall, and then he's like, well, what if we painted one of your cars, like graffiti style? And I was like, that's a really good idea. And so we were kind of talking about ideas, and we were like looking at pictures and coming up with some stuff. And so we're finally making that happen. We're starting the process, and so we came up here to Ogden, Utah, to a graffiti shop, Aqua Fresca, and we're actually checking out the colors. This is my buddy Hank, and he's the artist behind this, and we're kind of like going through some colors and coming up with some ideas. I'm not going to show you everything yet, but we're going to do the process and kind of show how he does his work. But he's got some really cool work, and he does like time lapses of his work and stuff, and so like I really want to document this process and like show start to finish how it turns out. I'm excited for this. So basically we're at the preliminary of like picking out colors and kind of coming up with the design, and then we're going to just mask the car and let him do his work. All right, we're back at it. Today is paint and body day. Brody was helping getting the rear fenders lined up. We got those installed, getting stuff scuffed. The hood, the livery's coming off of the old hood. I would have loved to hang this one up as well, but it was pretty well baked. The vinyl that was on there was in really bad shape and discolored and just like not good. So it had to come off. It wasn't worth saving that. So that'll allow us to reuse the hood. I just realized I'm gonna have to cut a hole in the hood somewhere too for the wastegate dump tubes up there. But basically the plan right now is to get everything mounted and set up so that we can start doing paint. We got 2 days left. So as the paint's drying, we'll probably bring it back in, finish dyno tuning it. And literally after that, it's just like little stuff like seat belts, the dash cluster mount, cleaning up the wiring inside, literally just stuff like that to make sure that the car's 100%. Mount tires, load the trailer. There's some stuff to do on the truck, but Kelly's the truck specialist.
Hi, I work on truck. It's really cold. I wanna not be cold anymore, Brandon.
Your jacket heater turned off.
Oh boy, hold
That's
on.
why you're cold.
Look at that, $300 worth of crap.
All right, so here's the status of the hood. You got years of history here. You've got when it left China, then you got when we painted it purple, and then you got the green on top. And we got multiple layers because this hood was pretty rough. I think I told you guys earlier, but all the vinyl was baked on because the car literally sat on a lift with a heater right above it. And so like, imagine this car being there for 10 years with a heater right there. It just doesn't do any good. So all that stuff was baked on. It also like shrunk the paint, so all these corners had lifted. And so, anyways, there's all the leftover paint from prepping this hood. But the good thing is it should fit. We can put the arrow catch hood pins back in, and everything should just line up because this hood was from that car. And huge shout out to Tyler and Amanda for coming and helping out, because I always leave paint to the last minute, and the hardest, most painstaking part is getting everything prepped and ready to go. And there's literally just like sanding dust everywhere. And this is like, I think I labeled it a 6 out of 10 job, but I'm going to downgrade to like a 5 out of 10 job because we're getting shorter on time. And everything's spray paint. It's going to be cool. I don't want to tell you too much about how it's going to turn out, but like the prep is mediocre. I wish we were doing a better prep job, but I still think the product's going to turn out really good because this really is a drift car. This is a battle car. I'm definitely going to be rubbing doors in this car. So I don't want to do an 8 out of 10 job, which for me is a 10 out of 10 because my max capability is an 8. I ended up getting different doors on the car and primered those in white. And so everything's starting out white. So I think the paint will do a little bit better. Rather than having like a white panel, a black panel, a green panel, the color tends to bleed through a little bit and doesn't look as good. So we got about an hour to bolt all the panels on, get it masked, and get ready for the guy that's coming to paint it. And I'm just really excited about this. So this is the new paint on the right, and that's the old paint on the left. That is really close. And with my crappy spray technique, it almost looks like the flake that's in this paint because it kind of shows through my speckly sparkle crap. We got the wastegate measured out. I think we're gonna, as best we could, we're gonna cut the hole and hopefully it works. You got it, Tyler? That way I can blame someone if it's in the wrong spot.
Try this
The wastegate dump tube. Not to mention the hole saw's not even straight. It's wobbling all over.
Oh, good.
Come in here. Let's test fit it.
In 2 months, you're gonna ask me to fiberglass that back together.
Can you fiberglass that so we can move it a quarter inch?
Yeah. Thanks.
What do you mean 2 months? We need it tonight.
Right.
Set on extra spicy. It's so loud. I can't believe how loud the exhaust is on this thing. I was considering for a minute getting license plates and trying to drive on the street, but I think it's a bad idea. Like, this thing's so loud. If I were a cop, I'd give myself a ticket. Like, I'd impound my own car and crush it. Like, I'm not trying to risk that in any of those liberal states we're going to. In Utah, this is welcome. Outside of Salt Lake City, this is welcome, but not in the places we're going. So the hood hole that we cut for that is a little bit off. So Kelly was gonna like cut and modify the exhaust just a little bit to move the.
Oh, don't free rev your car, Kelly. You're gonna break it, Kelly. Oh, it makes. Oh, the
Seriously?
oil pressure, the timing belt's gonna come off, Kelly. Oh, what the hell is that?
Listen.
Doesn't even sound good.
My car didn't blow up from free revving, okay?
No,
my
neither
car
did
didn't blow
mine.
up from free revving.
Mine didn't either. Don't do
Also,
two-step, kids.
listen.
Bang.
Did you hear it? Did you just listen to it?
I hear the sound of rod
This
mount
car
tape
said-
too.
I'll suplex you.
Suplex me into what? This nice clean
Why are
floor?
you taking my jack?
This is my jack.
Get on out of here. So anyways, Kelly was gonna cut this and modify it a little bit. I think it needs to move that way just a hair. We were gonna I was gonna oval the hole out in the hood, and then he's like, don't be stupid, just cut that short. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. Kelly's not a bad guy, even though he's kind of an idiot. All right, things are coming together pretty nicely. The car's mostly white, which is weird. I've never seen it white. It went from red to purple to green, and now we got some white on it, but it's not gonna be white for long. There's a lot of masking to do. Usually I paint panels off the car, so like I don't have to mask the whole thing. I can just tarp over the whole front. But now having individual parts, we got to mask like the holes and the stuff where it's going to come through, and the hood and all that stuff. So it's a little bit more intense than a normal job. But Hank's got all the supplies. There's a quick sneak peek of what's what over here. But things are going to transform really quickly with this. So one thing we talked about was like, whenever I first start painting, is like getting, like up in the corners and stuff. So Hank was like getting the handle, and like back in here, like I was saying, I usually paint panels off the car, so like you can get all those. But since we're doing it on the car, I figure we'll hit some of those spots while it's apart. But like there's a preview of what's going down. That color is super similar to the other, like on camera you almost can't tell the difference. You would think we're just touching up the car with the same exact color. It looks super rad.
Yeah,
and
the metal flake. It's
right. Yeah. Yep.
pretty close.
And this was the last car I did the flake on. I got away from that, so this is actually going to be more true to like what I've been doing more recently. But like I was talking to Hank about this. Like he's an artist, you know what I mean? And like when people have their craft, like I love watching passionate people do what they're really good at, and kind of like seeing the process. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's super rad, super cool. This is it's really going to be a work of art when it's finished. And it's not just like, like a paint job's a paint job, but this is literally like a one-off artistic piece of work. I think that's why I'm so excited about it.
So I'm just blocking in some of the solid colors, like the lighter shades. We come back with like the darker tones, fill in shadow areas.
So
give it the depth.
how do you decide like where to do the shadows and how to do that? Is it just kind of like,
It's based off like the natural lighting and the shadows on the car, like when it's in, like a good light source hits it and you see the shadows naturally, like it's gonna show up in any light like that.
I'll bet artists know exactly what you're talking about, because I got no idea how you can like even,
Yeah.
you know, get that vision, but that's
Yeah.
rad. So you're using,
It's like if you're staring at your car now and you see the light reflecting off of it.
okay, yeah,
So you would paint that in white or like with a highlight color right there
okay.
to give it that.
So you kind of have to imagine where the source of light is coming and just,
Yeah,
and work with that.
basically, or you just use the light that's in the room and use that as your light source.
Oh, yeah.
With that.
Yeah, so how much, so explain how many shades are you using to get your tones?
I have at least 3 shades, but also have like the translucent black and translucent white, so I can tone down colors and make them darker or brighter according to what I want. So I have a lot of options.
So I was talking to Hank earlier, I was like, I don't think, how many, you got like maybe six cans of paint, and I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna cover the whole car. But now that I'm seeing him spray it out, like it has really good coverage, and the technique he's using like really gets a lot of material down on the car. So like I was saying, I really enjoy watching the process just for reasons like that. So on the top of the car, the roof and the hood, you're doing lighter color.
Yeah.
Is that because kind of like the light is coming from the top? Essentially,
Yeah.
so the whole top is gonna be lighter. Are you gonna do shading on top of this?
I'll add shading on like the darker spots that will appear darker, like maybe down here, the under parts under here. I use darker colors to get more depth to it. So just using the natural lighting to kind of find the shadows and the highlights and make them pop.
Cool. It's already looking pretty wild. So I'm starting to see the shading, like how it's coming together.
Yeah, I see a little
What I still don't see is how you're gonna integrate the markers. That's what I'm excited to see, is like how that's gonna look.
You just find you follow like some of the body lines and you like, it's a little bit freestyle and abstract, but it's also
Yeah.
like deliberate in
Right,
ways. You
right.
know what I mean? So it'll really come together real well once that starts going on.
I was telling Hank, like I have trouble understanding like seeing the finished product before you start. But like I feel like most artists see that. They kind of have an image in their head that they're aiming for.
Exactly.
And so like he knows exactly what he's doing, and I'm just sitting here as a spectator watching it unfold in front of my eyes, and it's just like, it's awesome. I love seeing it because he knows right where to, right where he wants the this and that, and it's gonna turn out a work of art. So now most of this is laid out, the paint and the shading and stuff. It's time to start deciding where the stripes are gonna go on this car. And we talked about a few options, but I really want Hank to go freestyle on it and just go for it. He talked about masking it, which would make some really sharp lines, but I really like that graffiti style of like a sharp paint tip line. And so basically we're like just freestyling, looking for where the lines are gonna go. And I think this is gonna be a challenge. I think it'll be a good challenge because basically just doing like guide marks, like okay, this stripe's gonna go here, this one's gonna go here, and having to keep all that like in mind as we go through it. But I'm really happy with how this is turning out right now. Once those stripes and getting some color on here, it's gonna be wild. All right, here's the first stripe, finished product. This is wild. You got this beautiful paint job, and then it's just like, let's go. Let's put some lines on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty committed.
Don't even be afraid to send
Yep.
it.
But it's like you were telling me earlier, like, yo, you can always just like spray over it and fix it.
Yeah, you can really just go right back over it.
Yeah.
And cover all that.
Yeah, that's wild. This is wild and loud. It's really coming together with all these colors on it. The back wheel, I was noticing there's just a little bit of a lack of yellow, but like we can't really fit another stripe because it just doesn't fit. So we're going for alternative methods here. Yes. Get some more on the bumper.
Dude, that's messy. Yeah.
That's how it's done right there.
There it is.
All right, this is it right here. This is where the marker meets the paint, and it really changes the entire style of the car. This paint marker. So I'll just give you a walk around. We got the highlights, we got stripes, we got lines, we got paint splatters. We got all that stuff going on. It's really busy, it's really loud. And then this, you can see Hank's starting to do the sketching with the marker, and it really it brings this thing to life. It completely changes the style of the car by adding that to it. That really makes all the difference. And this is just the beginning of it. All right, so I was just admiring how Hank just comes up, he's just got in his head where these lines go and how they're it's not a perfect line, but it's not supposed to be a perfect line. We just nicknamed this sketchy style because it's like you're sketching, with a pencil on a paper almost, but you're doing it on a car, and it just it gives it this insane look that's so sick. And so I'm literally this is the part where I'm just watching him because he's artistically drawing these lines. I'm talking about you, as if you're not here. He's
not here, actually.
But what is it? It's almost 3 a.m. We're both gone. I'm somewhere else right now. But he's doing these artistic lines, and he knows right where to follow the body lines, and it's just it's so sick. It just ties everything together, doing that. And I'm thoroughly enjoying watching this. But you can get creative with the way, I'm not creative, but the artistic brain that Hank's got is just putting some serious flair in here, and I love it. That's so sick. I'm gonna go ahead and cut to time lapse of this side of the car turning into a work of art. So for a minute I thought Hank was done when he was putting the black highlights on. And then he gets out the white marker and starts adding even more highlights to it. And it's just like, really, really makes it pop off. Looks so good with that. Just like in the right spot. It's just the contrast between the white, right? It just like makes everything kind of.
Just adding like a little white next to the black, it just makes everything pop just that much more.
Check this out. That's sick. Fully custom. All right, guys, that's it for me for tonight. I am checking out. I took all the body panels off the car now that it's painted. I sprayed clear coat on this this part of the car. I'm gonna do the other body panels tomorrow. It is 6 in the morning. I'm so tired of having to pull all-nighters, but this car needs to go on the dyno tomorrow. It needs to get a bunch of other stuff done to it. We gotta swap the guts of the doors, wire in some stuff. It just needs to be in the shop. So I sprayed clear tonight so that it can cure in the next 5 or 6 hours. I'll pull it in the shop, and then me and the boys can start working on it. While that's happening, I'll come back over and spray these and let them dry all day. And then by tonight, I can be bolting panels on and then get the car on the trailer. Last minute or no minute, am I right? Good night. So, I'm going to register my car for Drift Week. It's like it's time to be on the road, time to leave. But I had to make it to DMV, 4:45 on a Friday. Let's make it happen. So, this car hasn't been registered since, man, it has to be like 2010, 2011, and I got plates. It's all set for Drift Week. I never, ever imagined that I'd be taking my pro car on Drift Week. This is like, it's a different level. It's a different level. But back to the shop. Got work to do. I just barely made it to the DMV before they closed. Like, man, we're running on the very edge of making this whole thing happen. This is really, really like emotionally taxing. So, you know, when you got all the responsibility and sometimes you feel like you're the only one pushing hard to make it happen, because at the end of the day, everybody else around knows that the responsibility is on me, and everybody else knows that I'm gonna get it done one way or the other. And so, you know, in some ways, like, I'm the only one carrying all that burden, and it's not really shared. And I mean, that's how life is, right? It's nobody else's burden to carry, but sometimes it gets really heavy and really hard to do. All right, this is what's left of it. This stuff has all been clear coated. It's just sitting in here to dry. The car's over on the dyno. So as soon as that's all done, hopefully these parts are dry enough we can start mounting them up tonight without getting fingerprints all over them, and then hit the road. That is so wild. Looking the way those yellow stripes cross just laying there. This is rad. I'm really happy with how this came out. Initially, the things that bothered me were like, the yellow has some overspray. Obviously it's spray paint, right? So it kind of sprays out, especially when it's down in a corner like this. But like once Hank went through with the marker and started doing the black lines, all that stuff was inconsequential. Like, it didn't really matter because the black lines give it some definition. So, and then the yellow actually adds kind of like a fade flare to it. I like it. I really like how it's abstract, and things really came together on it. Really, really cool. So, once it's all mounted up on the car, I'll show that, and then we'll finish out the video. All right, guys. Oh man, it's the night we're supposed to be leaving. Well, we're leaving at 6 a.m., but it's like 10 p.m. now, so we're still we're getting there. The car has body panels, door. I still got to bolt up the front end. These other pieces are still drying, but at least it's all in one place. This heater's a lot more effective and efficient than the heater in the other shop, so I think it's going to cook a little bit easier in here. There's the old KBD bumper. It's unbreakable, but they're kind of hard to mount when they're cold. So I'm trying to get some heat in it so we can get it mounted up. I still got to do like some front tabs for that, but our list is pretty well crossed out. We got mount body panels and seat belts, and then I got to mount the ADU and wire it in. which I can do that on the road. The rest of the stuff is just like stuff we need to pack, extra parts and tools and whatnot. And we forgot, Kelly was supposed to be moving out of his shop before we go on this 2-week trip. So now we're like over there hustling, trying to get stuff moved out, so Kelly can be all the way out before we leave. But it's actually, it came along pretty well. As far as like parts and everything like that, like everything's in order mechanically. Oh yeah, and Derek had it on the dyno and it did 625 uncorrected power. So that's really, really good for that car. And that's at 20 pounds of boost. So if we turn the boost up, it would probably do like 800, I'm guessing, if we maxed out that turbo. So there's definitely headroom to go up, and it sounded really healthy and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go drive it on driftway like this, and if I feel like it needs more to do hot pit, then we can turn it up a little bit, but I'm convinced it's gonna be solid. We did an oil change, so that's all set up. Like, car it's good. It's good. It's gonna look good. It's gonna run good. Huge shout out to Derek for coming last minute and helping me get it dialed. There was some big problems with the map that I did last time, and so he taught me a couple things and showed me how to make the car run better, and so like, huge shout out. And then big shout out to Tyler and Amanda for coming last minute and helping me the last 2 days get all this stuff done, because we've been like just going. We had to move all sorts of stuff, load the trailer, just like getting all the stuff ready for the body. That was, I think that was the biggest amount of work, was like getting the paint and body and all that stuff done, because it was just like, it took like a whole extra day that would have been like just chilling, relaxing. It was like, no, but it really looks good. Like, I'm happy with how it turned out. And huge shout out to Hank. He came and stayed all night last night. We stayed up till like 7 a.m. getting all the spray paint and stuff done, and then I spent the rest of the day clear coating, because originally I wasn't going to clear coat it, but it looks so good. I'm like, I don't want this to get dirty. I want to be able to wash this off and rinse it, and so like, I'm really happy with how that came out, but it added another level of complication and everything. So who's that? Here's Kelly to yell at me. We're gonna go back to we're gonna go back to doing, oh, and the truck. I even forgot about that. We've been so busy. Kelly did the pump in the power steering pump in the truck. Everything's good. We're idling it to load the trailer, and it just like oil's leaking underneath. And I'm like, Kelly, what did you do? And Kelly's like, I didn't do anything. And so we pull it back in. He pulls it apart. We check it, and it turns out it was, if you watch my other video from before when we did the Cummins swap, I had the vacuum pump taken apart, and I didn't reseal it. I had a seal kit. I should have done it. It was sitting right there. I didn't reseal it, and it ended up leaking, so we had to do twice the amount of work. But the truck seems solid, runs good. Everything's good that way. I'm like feeling confident about this. We're just pushing like into the night. It's gonna be a little bit rough. We're trying to leave at like 6 a.m. I think I already mentioned this, but like, that car does not have a sunroof, and it does not have windows. So if we hit any kind of rain, whether we're drifting or whether we're on the trailer, that's gonna be a huge problem. Like, the car's gonna be wet, the seats are gonna be wet. Hopefully like the ECU and the dash are not gonna get wet, but like all that stuff is a potential issue.
Jesse's socks are gonna get wet. My socks are gonna get wet.
Jesse's like, I need to get shoes, and it's like, we don't really have time. And I was like, well, just go to a van store by the racetrack. And he's like, you don't find van stores by a racetrack. What do you think this is? You just a van store? You're gonna have to buy Adidas then.
No.
All right. I tried.
I'll bring the flip-flops.
You bring in the flip-flop gang?
Yeah, I'll bring the flip-flops.
I'll join that. Headed south. So yeah, we're just letting the parts dry, but I forgot about that. Literally, like, this is a race car going on Drift Week. I was talking about that earlier at the DMV, like, oh, I'm so stoked to be taking my race car, but then I forgot what that means to take a race car in February, where it could potentially rain or snow along the way and cause major problems, but it is what it is. All right, it's the morning of. We should have left already, but as usual, we didn't. So we're gonna get there super late tonight. We're just finishing up like basic stuff, body panels, mounting, trimming, fitment, all that kind of stuff. And then we found out that the wheel is very far back in the wheel well, so there's no way it's gonna turn without hitting that. And I'm not trying to do a U-Haul Rintonen and cut my body line all the way around. I know that's a common thing with Wisefab in Europe. They just like cut whatever to make it work. I really wanna try and make it work without having to cut too much off or anything at all. We trimmed like the skirt inside there, so there's no fiberglass going all the way into there. Brody's gonna cut the same thing on the front, so that should give us more sweep, but we still need to get the wheel centered in the wheel well. So I'm gonna have to pull the Wisefab arms and adjust the caster to pull it forward. finally finished fitting up all the body panels and brought the car outside. I got to do a little ripperoonie in it, and it feels really good. It feels strong. But that's it, all put together. Cut up fenders, all the good stuff. Even with Type 4 fenders, it sticks way out, like kind of ridiculous. Finally, we're hitting the road. Literally, it's like 12 hours after we thought. We were shooting to leave at 5 a.m. and it is 4:30 p.m. It's gonna be a long night. We're gonna get there at 6 a.m. We don't drive till 10. No, we don't drive till noon. So we can sleep a little bit when we get there. But it's gonna be a rough drive for sure. For sure, it's gonna be a rough drive. We're gonna go meet up with Damien. He wants to throw his car on the trailer and cruise down there with us. And then it's gonna be a long night of just driving. Well, there's 4 of us, so that helps break it up for sure. Car's looking fresh, super fast. I did a quick 1, 2, 3, and it just spins tires through every gear. And that's with the 295 GT radials. So I think that car's gonna be a monster. I'm really excited to really like shake it down and test it out on this trip and get the suspension and the steering dialed so that it's ready for hot pit. That's kind of my main goal. Obviously I'm trying to have fun, but I really want to get that car like, I need to learn how to drive that car again, to drive it like at a high level. So this is my time to bond with the car. Same with the truck. I don't mean to talk about the car in front of you, truck. We can bond too.
What is he doing? Did you pay him? Jesse, I told you not to pay people.
I don't have any money to give you.
What?
I don't have any money to give you, sir. Get out of here. Get out of here.